Hi, I'm Randy Hodges, and this is Paul, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about the way I knife fight. In my knife fighting, I try to have one of my first shots go directly to his face. And the reason why I do this is, if I stab to his body first, in the adrenaline rush of the fight, he may think he's just been punched, he may not feel that, it may not incapacitate him right away, I may not get the reaction that I want from him. But I believe you've got to be Superman not to give me the reaction I want when I'm splitting your face with that blade. And what I'm looking for is one of three reactions from him. I either want him to get hit, all of which lets me follow up, flinch away from it, all of which lets me follow up on him, or block. And that leads us to what I want to talk about today, is dictating my attacker's reactions by where I throw my strike. If I go out there and just stab blindly at him, he could do one of hundreds of different counters to him. But by dictating where I strike and dictating how he has to respond to that, and then knowing the counter off of that, it lets me be 3 steps ahead of my attacker. So let's look at this. If I was to strike to his center line, he might block that way, or he might block that way. So I want to know the counter to that, and I want to know the counter to that. That way, either one of those things that he does that I have dictated with my center line strike, I know the counter off of it immediately. Now, if he strikes, and I throw to this side of his head, I'm forcing him to block that way. Either he's going to get cut, or he's going to block. And I know the counter off of that. I've dictated his response so that I can counter off of it. And now I don't care if I hit him or he blocks. He's doing everything right. If he doesn't block this, I'm going to cut his neck. If he does block it, I know the counter off of that and will kill him. So by striking to this side of his head and knowing the counters, I can re-counter on him. If he throws the strike and I throw here, I dictate that he has to block that way, and I know the counter to it. Again, if he doesn't block, I'm going to stab him right in the head. So I force him to have to block that, but I know the counter off of it, so that I can immediately move off of that block. As he's hitting me, I'm hitting him at the same time. So it freezes him. He thinks that strike's going to hit me. And as he thinks that strike is going to land, I'm throwing it at him. That freezes him, and I'm able to counter off of that. If I strike low, and I strike to the center line, he might block that way, or he might block the other way. So what I want to know is the counter off of that. If he blocks out, I circle my hand up and kill him. If he blocks underneath, I circle my hand up and I kill him. So by not just throwing my strikes blindly, but dictating the spot that I strike to and knowing the recounter off of his counter, I'm able to stay 3 steps ahead of him. And now when he strikes and I throw here, I know the counter off of it. When he strikes and I throw here, I know the counter off of it. When he strikes and I throw here, I know the counter off of it. When he strikes and I throw this hip, I know the counter off of it. And now I don't care if he blocks or he doesn't block. If he doesn't block, I stab him. If he does block, I know the counter off of that. And I'm expecting him to block. When I throw this strike, I want him to block there, and I'm expecting that. When I strike here, I want him to block, and I'm expecting that. When I strike here, I want him to block, and I'm expecting that. So I dictate his response. And again, he's doing everything correctly. He has to block that. But I just don't let that deter me from where I want to go. Thank you.